I love the Power Club.
Come with me if you want to live.
I love the Power Club.
No time for time travel.
Welcome to another episode of No Time for Time Travel Podcast, where a podcast for nerds by nerds. Joining me all the way from Paris is Quoc.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. And actually, by the time you guys listen to this, I might actually be in Paris. Let's see. So today's topic is going to be a short one. We're just going to be reviewing, or I guess I'm reviewing, and you can ask me questions.
Yep.
The new Nintendo Switch game, if you will, called Ring Fit Adventure. So, just a brief summary first, is Ring Fit Adventure is a game where you actually have peripherals and it makes you work out. So, I just got that last week. It retails for $79.99 in US dollars. And what you get is you get the strap for your leg, and then you get a resistance ring, and then you also get the game. So, yeah. So, I don't know how I should do this review. You want to just ask me questions, or?
I guess first just briefly tell me what you think about it so far, your experience, and then I'll ask you questions from there.
I actually really like it because it makes me want to work out, because the game is like an adventure game, as you know, it's called adventure. So I guess in the adventure mode, you go through these levels. There's an overworld map, kind of like Super Mario. And then you go to each level as you go towards the boss. So it's basically like overworld. And then the game itself in the perspective of third person. And then you control your avatar character by actually running. So the whole game is kind of on rails. And
what do you mean by on rails?
On rails, kind of like Temple Run, where your character has a defined path, you know?
Gotcha.
But then to move your character, there's things where you have to go faster in speed, you have to go lower in speed, and to move your character, you're actually jogging. Like the Joy-Con detects on your upper thigh how fast you jog. So you are jogging through the whole run game. It's like a temple run game. And then your ring, your resistance ring, is actually like a power ring or something in the game, and you can do different things with it. And there's a full motion sensor on the ring, so if your hands are up in the air, it detects that. So your character's hand needs to go up in the air with the ring and going down too. So I guess it's cool because like the power on the ring is that if you squeeze the ring, it will shoot a burst of air forward. If you pull on the ring, it sucks things in. So that's the main mechanic of the ring. But you could do creative things with it. So the most basic thing is like jumping. You don't actually jump as a character, but you use your ring to lower to the ground and shoot air towards the ground to jump your character. So yeah, things like that. Or like if you run and there's something far on your left side, like coins that you want to use, you have to like move your resistance ring over and then pull it hard to like suck the coins. Yeah.
Right.
And then and then sometimes you run into monsters or minions. You know how like when you play Pokemon, right? Randomly you run into Pokemon? Yeah. So in your game run, once in a while you'll also hit like a monster, and the monster then brings you to a new screen, like an RPG fighting thing. Yeah. But it's not like, it's really creative. So you get to choose which type of attack to do, but your attack is basically the workout you want to do.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, so like,
does it change every time you attack somebody, or like you can change it, or is it that one move all the time for a while?
So for example, right? Like if you go into that menu, you have like a squat, or you have like squeezing the fitness ring, or you have like doing crunches and things like that. You choose one, and then you have to do like 30 of them in the right timing the game tells you, and it will detect the timing. So for squats, right, you can't just like go down and up. You actually have to go down, and the game detects how long you hold. And as you're holding, the meter goes upwards until it hits the minimum like power, and then you stand up, and then it attacks. So,
okay.
Yeah, so you keep doing that. And then each time is like 30 times of that for each workout you choose. And afterwards, there's a cooldown period for that specific workout. So then you have to choose a different workout as your next attack.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. That's a cool mechanic. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really cool. I think I put in like maybe an hour or two so far, but it's like pretty fun. And that's the adventure mode. There's also other stuff like mini games. And there's also workout mode, which is straight up just your regular workouts, and it tracks everything. So yeah.
So you only put in 1 hour so far, like total?
I think 2 hours total.
Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty fun. I haven't had a lot of time, but it's really fun.
Oh yeah. So from what I hear, it kind of reminds me of what was that game? Mario Party a bit.
Yeah, a
But
little
more
bit.
practical, I guess.
Yeah.
The more practical exercises.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this one thing that's pretty cool. One of the mini games is that there's just a bunch of like crates in front of you, and then it's like a grid of 4x4, and then they drop, right? And then you have to use your resistance band to like press in as fast as you can to shoot all the crates and clear it. And
Right.
it's like once you clear the screen, then more crates fall down. So it's almost like almost like Bejeweled, but then you're shooting things instead of connecting. You know?
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, but then and then it's full tracking too, right? So you can move your resistance band fully anywhere you want, aim it at anything because it's full tracking.
Oh.
So it's cool because then you're really working out by, compressing that resistance band a lot, resistance rate. Let's see, what else? There was also this other game where your character basically is parachuting, and you have to like navigate your character down. It's a top view down. You're falling down, right? And then there's coins everywhere, and you have to navigate your character by to collect the coins by holding the resistance band over your head, and it's kind of like you're holding a parachute or glider. Right?
Yeah. So you just have to navigate yourself in a certain way, angle.
Yeah, and what's really cool too is that if you compress in, you fall down faster, and if you pull out, you slow down your descent.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like so practical.
It's pretty interesting you said that, or you brought it up, because I remember you told me about it like a few days ago, and I was having lunch with my coworker today, and then she was telling me how like she started recently playing that as well, and she was telling me about it. I was like, wait a minute, this sounds just like the thing Tony was telling me about. Yeah. So I mean, like I think she had the same reaction as you did. Like she found the exercise to be really fun, and it made her want to work out. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I think I saw like a few clips of it just now, and I think it's actually really, really smart. I'm actually I find it more fascinating that they're able to track everything so well, especially like with the legs.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
Yeah, and with like only two remotes, I'm like, how's that possible?
Yeah, so the remote in your leg is just like the Joy-Con tracking. Oh, one of the things that was interesting was when I got the game, I started it up, it downloaded a new firmware into my controllers. I didn't even know it could do that. So
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, the controllers got a firmware update, like specifically not the game, not the system, but the controllers. So I think there was like some new algorithm that they had to track. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The ring itself has a bunch of sensors too. That's why it's probably so expensive. So because you have to connect the controller in the ring, and the ring itself has like electronics in it or so.
Yeah.
So it could track more.
I mean, as well as being like very durable for exercises.
Yeah, because it tells you too. It's like, oh, you gotta press harder, like press as hard as you can for more points, or like a stronger attack, So it has to be super.
Yeah, and like normally for games and remote controls, you're like very careful with it, and a lot of players tend to through the years of wearing and tearing, it like breaks down. So I assume like this is intentionally for hard pressing or like heavy lifting and heavy use. So they have to be extra durable.
Yeah. And so I was telling you about the mini games, I was telling you about the adventure games, but there's also normal workout mode where you just choose like which workout you want to do. And it's still really fun versus a regular workout. Like let's say, you know how like when you're sitting on the floor and you kind of lift both legs up and then you kind of scissor your leg left and right?
Yeah.
So I would not do that myself without any like motivation or anything. But when I choose that in the game, it tracks my movement. So I see my avatar on the screen do exactly what I'm doing.
Oh, so it's kind of like fascinating in a way. Just to like look at your. It's not like really a mirror, but it's kind of like a mini you, a digital you.
Yeah. And it's cool too, because like things like crunches, right? When you hold your legs up, every time you hold, you have to hold a certain amount of time. In real life, right? A regular workout, you're like holding it, you're like 1, 2, 3, whatever. In the game, as you're holding it, they have that sound effect of like energizing up, and then you see this like fiery meter that slowly goes upwards and fills up as you're holding. So it's just like, it gives you a sense of reward when you're doing that.
Yeah.
So it's just cool. It's like as if everything I'm doing, I'm getting points for it,
Mhm.
So yeah, and the other thing cool is that you know how your controller, one of the controllers has a infrared sensor.
Yeah.
So the game is cool that you put your thumb on there, and then it will calculate your heart rate, and then pretty much has almost like an EKG thing. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Wow.
and it records it in. It's like so cool. Also, just wanted to let the listeners know, I actually work in health IT, so I find this thing extra fascinating because one of the things in health IT is how do we do something? It's called gamification. How do we gamify like healthiness into lifestyles? So
Mhm.
basically, making things that are
Boring and just people don't want to do.
yeah, getting things that people don't want to do, but gamifying it, making them into goal achieving games that people can feel motivated to complete. And it's crazy because this is like Nintendo did this so perfectly with this game. They should become a health IT company. It's just crazy.
Did you? I think we talked about this before, but like way back then, like maybe 5-6 years ago, something like that, maybe more. But did you ever try that one? Not really RPG, but it's kind of like it's a workout thing where you work out to level up.
Oh yeah. I think I still have that on my phone, and I don't think I ever used it.
Yeah. I think like it had a good idea, but it just like became like so stat oriented.
Yeah.
That we just kind of stopped caring at certain points.
Yeah. Is it?
I forgot what the name of it though.
I think it's Fitocracy.
Oh yeah, it is that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for listeners who don't know what photography is, it's pretty much an RPG element app where you put in like what exercises you do. Like you log in, like I did like 30 push-ups today, and you log into your app, and then it will say like, okay, 30 push-ups gains you this much experience, and then you level up as you move on and everything. But that's, from what I know back then, that's pretty much all I had. I don't know what it offers now.
Yeah, it also gives you like exercises you can do. But the thing about Fitocracy is that there's no like honest checking. You have to just be honest, you know?
Yeah.
And the thing about the new Switch game, the Ring Fit Challenge thing, is that it's actually nice that they are devices that will track what you do, so you can't really cheat on it, you know? You can't cheat the number of reps. You're gonna have to physically, compress that ring. There's no way of cheating. And I guess if you want, you could cheat with the running, but what's the point? The cheating with the running, if you're shaking the controller, you're still gonna shake the controller. You're still doing something,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. I guess that thing was like necessary to like not have the cheating element in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also like just making the game fun. So that's the problem with a lot of health IT companies that try to gamify things. They don't have a gaming background, so they don't know how to make things fun.
Yeah.
Nintendo is a gaming company who is going the reverse. They're introducing health into gaming, so they have a better way of knowing how to make things fun.
Yeah.
So
I think it's also kind of like they don't. A lot of even like gaming companies, a lot of time they don't know how to play with people's psychology. But I think like the psychology is like a big element into what motivates the player to keep going and whatnot. Kind of like I'll give you an example. Kind of like mobile games. They capitalize on the psychology of being impatient, right? So let's say like, I can only have enough coins to play 2 levels. But if I buy more coins, I can skip all that and get another. And instead of waiting an hour until my energy replenishes or whatever, then I can play again now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like what Nintendo is doing now, which is, I think, is fantastic. It's just like it capitalized, like, okay, they know, like, okay, people will cheat, and how do we get rid of people cheating? I was like, okay, well, we'll just introduce this one tool where you can't like play, like just move it around kind of like in the Wii or like Wii tennis or bowling or whatever, and just get stuff done. Because then, like, of course you do that, you won't really get a lot out of it, but by introducing some mechanic that works in this sense, like with all the actions that you mentioned, it kind of just gives the player an incentive to do something.
Yeah.
And if let's say you're trying to beat the boss, and of course okay, if you're lazy, you don't have to do the exercise. You can try to do the movement, but maybe I don't know how many people found the glitch or the easy way to do it yet. But more or less, you have to put in some sort of work that will give you more or less an exercise.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that they also named it Ring Fit Challenge. So if you're buying this, you want to get fit. So it's also the other psychology of why would you cheat in a fitness video game? Dance Dance Revolution, it doesn't have the name exercise or fit or whatever in it. So people can be like, oh, I'll just play this on the controller. It's just to play the game. And I think because they also put a focus on, tracking and seeing that you're fit in the game and giving you, all those achievements, right? It's just more incentivizing than other things. So
yeah, because definitely the RPG element. I think a lot of people enjoy the ability of leveling up pretty much in real life. Yeah. And when, of course, in games, you level up and you feel nice, but at the same time, you don't feel it outside. You're like, oh, whatever. So it doesn't correlate to each other. But now that they put it together in a more physical manner, I think it's definitely a lot better. Because it's kind of like when you work out, you will feel better. And then on top of that, it's not like somebody's forcing you to, hey, do 10 push-up or 30 push-up. And then, like you were mentioning earlier, with Photocracy, it was like an honor system. So if you really want to level up, you put I did 2,000 push-up today, and that's it. And no one would really know. No one would really care.
Yeah.
Or you might show it off to your friends, but aside from that, it's nothing. No one can really check on you.
Yeah. Well, if I had to give a summary review, I would give this game a 9 out of 10. So I think there's some room for replayability improvements aside from working out. They can probably give a multiplayer function, but for the most part, I really enjoy it. So
yeah, I was going to ask you about multiplayer.
Yeah, there's no multiplayer. So, but some people have said this is actually also a fun party game where if you're kind of drunk and you do these exercises, it's kind of funny and people can take turns. So yeah. So that will be probably the only thing I have to say left is just the rating. So we will see you on the next episode then, right?
Yes.
Cool. All right, no time for time travel. Signing off. Hurdy going West Speed. See ya.
Bye-bye.
I love the Power Club.
Come with me if you want to live.
I love the Power Club.
No time for time travel.